Today is an incredibly exciting day because we finally got our hands on the trash Panda Dune. So if you've been following my channel for a little while, you know that I've been playing with my mid-range slots quite a bit. And I've actually been waiting on this specific disc for a long time. My hope is that this disc can help solve one of the issues I'm having with my mid-range game. I've been going back and forth between the Lobster and the Uplink, between the Hex and the Buzzz, trying to find the right overstable mid-range slot. And what I'm finding is I just haven't quite dialed in that perfect point and shoot dead straight mid-range. So today we're gonna take all my mid-ranges out to the field, including the Dune. We're gonna throw them, we're gonna get some fall flights going for you guys. Then we're gonna play a couple holes with them to see if the Dune isn't the right disc to fix my mid-range problem and to figure out what mid-ranges should actually make my bag. Let's get into it. Starting out with the Uplink, we're throwing in a headwind 15 miles an hour here, and you can see this disc pops out on just a baby amount of hyzer and just turns and drifts all the way right. Now onto the Dune, we hit this one, a little bit of hyzer as well, flips up to flat and just holds dead straight the entire way. The smallest amount of fade at the end, but really impressed with that flight. This shot is with the Hex. You can see on this one we get a little higher, a little bit more nose up, but once again just holds straight for a long time and then a bigger finish out at the end. And finally the Buzzz OS, the overstable boy, hit it flat, get it out to the right, gets on hyzer pretty quickly and is just moving left the entire way. Now we're throwing all these discs in a tailwind, starting with the Uplink. Once again, you can see we get this out flat and it just turns and starts drifting right until it bites into this hill. We're also throwing uphill here. So here's the Dune once again, and get it out flat, gets a little bit on turn and drifts over to the right. Not quite as far as the Uplink, but definitely moving right the whole flight. The Hex, we get out flat and it holds that line for a long time before eventually getting on hyzer and making its way back to the left for the finish. And the Buzzz OS, similar story, gets out flat and starts moving left pretty quickly as it bites down into that hill. We just walked out in the field onto those mid-ranges we just threw, and what I want to show you is that all of these discs actually landed in a pretty similar spot. We have our two Dunes right here behind me, just off over there. We have both the Uplink and the Buzzz OS almost on top of each other, but if you'll notice from those follow flights, they took a very different route to get there. One was the big hyzer, one was the turnover, and then just a little farther but straight in line is our Hex, which of course did go the farthest, but definitely had that straight flight to finish. So something I'm contemplating out here is whether or not I need 4 mid-ranges. They all fly different, they all allow me to hit different shot shapes, but I've been thinking about something I heard Buzzz say in his latest In the Bag video. He said he's the kind of player that likes to throw the same disc on different angles to achieve his shot shapes. And that is a very popular school of thought. You see a lot of the great players do that. So what I have to figure out for myself is, do I want to play like Buzzz, throw the same disc and just manipulate the angle, or do I want to throw the different disc on the same angle to achieve those shot shapes? If I throw different discs on the same angle, then I probably need to bag all 4 of these. If I throw the same disc on different angles, then I for sure have some overlap here. That's what we're gonna try and find out as we play 9 holes, mid-range only. All right, here we go. Hole 1 plays 315 straight ahead. We're gonna be going from our most understable to our most overstable discs as we figure out where the Dune slots into our bag and what mid-ranges we actually need in our bag. Up first is our Uplink. Now this hole does play with a little bit of a headwind, so we're really gonna have to put it out left, I think, on a little bit of hyzer and let it drift back in, but something nice and easy out there. I don't want to overpower it. Well, that was a lot of hyzer and a lot of left, but it's flipping up and just going forever. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna be like 40 deep and left. Should be a circle 2 look, but let's get the Dune out there. I'm gonna try and hit this just flat, maybe a tiny, tiny hyzer, but straight at the basket. See if we can't get a really good read on how this Dune flies. I mean, hardly any turn, hardly any fade. It just kind of gets to the end of the flight and sits down. That's nuts. Curious to see how close to the basket that is, but let's throw the Hex real quick. I'm gonna put this just a little to the right and try and throw it pretty flat. Okay, got a little bit of hyzer on it, tiny bit of stand up. Oh, go in? Oh, short, but I mean, that's absolutely parked. And last but not least, our Buzzz OS. We're gonna try and rip this flat out to the right, just try and give it enough space to come back. It's gonna need a little skip. Ooh, it's gonna be a little short. All right, I do have one more dune in the bag. Let's go ahead and throw that as well. It's another blue one, just to really get an understanding of this disc. Try and give it enough height this time. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Go in. I think it was a little short, but just so straight, so dead on line. Last disc I'm gonna throw is a control. This is my oldest, my most beaten Buzzz, my favorite go-to disc. I didn't have this in the bag until the last second, so you won't see it in those fieldwork shots, but this will be kind of our control. Gosh, I love that disc. See, I mean, such a straight, beautiful flight, a little more fade at the end, certainly than the Dune. The flight though is pretty similar, just held straight. Not much turn at all. That Buzzz just has a touch more fade. The thing is that Buzzz has been being beaten in my bag for years at this point. I mean, probably 3 years. One of the first discs I ever bought. So here's our spread real quick. This is the Buzzz OS, definitely the shortest, but in line. We will keep score, but it won't be ultimate, just sort of anecdotal. Because what I'm really out here, not bad. What I'm really out here to see is not how well I can putt, but how these discs fly and how they compare to each other. All right, and here's our hex. Once again, a little short, but not too bad. Get in. Oh, what a putt. I love that. About a 30-footer. We'll take that all day, one down on the hex. Buzzz right here next to the basket. Here's our dune. Now, this is a little bit cheating. This is not the first dune I threw, but it's all right. One down on the dune, just give it to me. Uplink's way out here. I'm not even sure if I'm still in frame of the camera. If you can see me, no. If not, I'd say I'm about 25 feet left of the basket. And I guess that's why you don't putt with an uplink. Hole 2 plays 306, straight ahead. Basket's just a little on the left. Regardless of score, we're gonna keep going understable to overstable, which means uplink up first. Just gonna try and hit it on a little hyzer, let it stand up and push its way down there. Well, that's the opposite of hyzer. That's flat, if not anhyzer. So we're up the hill. That's all right, we can live with it. Let's throw our dune. Oh yes. Gets on turn just a little. That'll work all day. Throw the hex. Yep. Lovely. Okay. Here's that control Buzzz. And there's the fade. Oh, that's gonna be CTP so far. And here's the Buzzz OS. We're gonna have to get over on this one a little bit, I think, to get it there. A little bit of Annie out of the hand. Oh, a lot of Annie out of the hand. Does it fight back? Oh yeah. Nice stability, good push. All right, here's that uplink that we turned over way up the hill. Oh, just stay. Oh yeah, easy tap in for the par. We'll take that. And here's the dune. A little short, but once again, easy tap in for the par. All right, here's our hex. We're still out in circle 2, downhill putt. Hook up. Oh, not a bad bid. Easy tap in for the par. And the Buzzz OS. I got about pin high, put a little too much Annie on it though, so we didn't quite make down the hill. Circle 2, look, up, drop. Oh, what a putt. Love that, baby. 2 for 2. Woo. And the closest of them all, the Buzzz. Left myself a nice little 15, 20 footer that I miss high. There it is. Oh, it was the second one. And the third one. All right, par on that. All right, hole 3 plays 270. Straight ahead behind all those tall trees, those bushes out in the field. This will test our hyzer ability on these discs, starting with the uplink. We're gonna really have to put this thing nose up on some hyzer. Try and stall it back in and around. See what we can't do. Oh, wow. That was just so bad. Almost fell off the tee pad there. All right, not my best work. Let's throw a dune. See if we can't redeem that a little bit, whatever that was. Much better, just push in there a little bit. Lovely, I'm in dead straight. All right, let's throw the hex. Push, push, and now fit. Oh, it's going. get around it, in it. All right, needed a touch more push on that. Throw a nice little control buzz. Oh, I pulled it right and it's just gonna be so straight. The distance was there. If I'd started that on the right line, that would have been so lovely. And the Buzzz OS, man, I can not get that right. A little bit of flex, then get it to finish back in. Pretty flat, it's gonna be short, I think. The finish looks so good, but I think it's in the bushes. Yeah, all right. All right, here's that dune. You probably can't see the basket. It's still kind of tucked back. We're just gonna do a little hyzer stepper putt. And decent line, but a little short, easy tap in for a par. All right, here's that uplink that I threw like an absolute goon. We're deep in circle 2, nice big stepper, little spin, just so high. That's never gonna do it, but it is parked for a par. Buzzz OS, absolutely no look. We're just gonna do a little scuba up over the trees. Yeah, I don't know where that went. We'll have to see when we get up there. And then the Hex sitting right here in the tree. Once again, I mean, just nothing. So we're just gonna pitch up. All right, tap it in for the par. It is what it is. Let's see where that little scoop went. Oh yeah, easy tap in for the par, no problem. Yeah, oh, here we go, here's our Buzzz. Just, I mean, it's a nice shot, just not at the hole. Little circle 2 60-footer. Oh, that was so sick, so clean. Can I do 2? No, oh, ow. That one felt a little funny. All right, hole 4, 380. Down in the gap, basket in the trees. Not gonna lie, that second jump putt on that Buzzz, something in here does not feel good, but we're gonna keep playing unless it gets worse, but let's see what we can't do. A lot of hyzer on the uplink. Okay, don't finish into those trees. Get past them, get past them. Oh, lovely. I mean, with that hyzer pop up straight to the mouth. Let's try a blue dune here. See if I can't actually throw flat for once in my life. I mean, once again, pulled it on Annie a little bit, but at least I got height on it. So that's better. All right, let's throw the Hex. Wow, much better release. Touch of Annie. Stalls out a little bit, touch nose up, but we'll take that all day. Here comes our control Buzzz. Old faithful. Once again, I'm starting that a little too right for how straight it is, but just nice, smooth up the hill. And finally the Buzzz OS. Once again, we're gonna have to hit this on some Annie because I really want to avoid getting in all this stuff on the left. Well, maybe not that much Annie. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All right, here's our Buzzz OS. Basket is just right up there in the gap. We did a nice little forehand flick. This Buzzz OS. Nice soft run. Oh, sawed it off, kick out. And here's our Hex. A little bit closer, similar shot to the Buzzz OS, just nice little flick. Oh, much better. Well, should have skipped on that hill. Here's that dune. This will be interesting. We're gonna do forehand it on a lot of hyzer because I really need to get it moving right. Oh, well, it was holding the angle nicely, actually. So I'm happy with that. I just pulled a little inside. Just a little ahead of that is the Buzzz. Similar. See, that was way more like what I wanted to do with the dune. And here's that uplink. By far the best shot of the bunch, actually, right to the mouth. Still have, I don't know, 100 feet. Just do a little jump putt up in there. Yeah, slide it up right under the basket. Most of these are nice, easy tap-ins for our par. Although this does say it's a par 4 on UDisc, that just feels a touch soft. So we'll say it's tap-ins for a 4. Buzzz OS ended up right out here. Yep. Easy tap-ins. Here's the deal. I was originally gonna play 9 holes out here, but between the heat, the humidity, and whatever on earth I just did to my side throwing that second putt, I am gassed. And I'm hurting a little bit. So we're gonna end it here. I know that wasn't a lot of disc golf, but I think I got a good idea for how all these discs fly. We got to throw them in the field a little bit. We're gonna throw it back to the studio, talk a little bit about this, what makes the bag, what you need to know, what I'm thinking after throwing these discs, how I wanna approach my mid-range game. We'll see you back there.
So welcome back to the studio, which just so happens to be
my car today. But let's talk about the results. Let's talk about what we just saw. This is the next day. We threw all those discs yesterday, clearly, as I wasn't playing in a button up. But I have some interesting thoughts on the Dune and on my mid-range lineup. Now, first off, let's talk about the Dune. The Dune is such an interesting and unique disc. In Anthony Bodanza's review, in his thumbnail, he said the glitch of mid-ranges. And in a lot of ways, I think this is a really apt description of this disc. It's one of the most point-and-shoot mid-ranges I've ever thrown by far. The ability for this disc to just go straight forever and then not really fade at the end, but just to sit down flat is really, really unique and makes this disc so exciting to me. Now, the one thing I will say is I've found just for my throwing style, which is a little more inconsistent, can have a little bit of wobble, tends to be on a slight hyzer, and then I struggle with the in-hyzer just to get the angle right. I am finding that the Dune is a little bit touchy for me because it doesn't have the natural built-in overstability. It's less forgiving. Now, that's obviously a me issue, not an issue with the disc, and I think the Dune is actually going to be an incredible mid-range to train with. Likewise, the inner core is a great putter to train with when doing formwork because it gives you pretty honest feedback about your release angle and how you end up throwing the disc. Now, here's where I'm really stuck, even after playing those holes. I think the Uplink absolutely has a place in my bag because it's just such a utility disc. Honestly, I don't throw it much, but when I need it, especially in the woods, having that really understable disc that I can either put on a lot of hyzer or get that huge panning left to right is helpful. And the Buzzz OS, likewise, just a really overstable. It's just a little bit farther than my zone. It's just a helpful disc to have. But in that neutral slot, when I talk about my Buzzz, my Hex, and now the Dune, this is where I'm struggling. The Hex is the most overstable of the three for sure. It has more overstability than my Buzzz. My Buzzz has been being beaten for a little while though. Now, I've never been huge on the train of mold minimalization. The jury is still out for me on that because I do have some newer Z Buzzes that fly actually very similar, if not the same, as my Hex. So what I could do is go with Old Faithful, my nice beat-in straight Buzzz, and then put in a newer Z Buzzz, and I could kind of have the same disc cover multiple slots, and that could be cool, but part of me really doesn't want to take the Hex out of the bag. I don't know what it is exactly because I'm not necessarily in love with the flight as much as the hand feel. The disc just feels great. But the flight is fine, you know, it's just that straight to left finishing mid-range. And this is where I feel overlap between the Buzzz, the Hex, and the Dune. I could probably do similar things with all three of those discs. The Dune feels like it would be a touch more of a utility disc in my bag just for that really dead straight point and shoot shot, but that's not generally what I'm throwing. I'm generally trying to throw a little more out to the right and then let the disc finish in. If you have too much wind, then the Dune can maybe be a little finicky, like I said, a little bit touchy. But this Buzzz has been out of my bag for a little while, and throwing it in these rounds yesterday, I forgot how much I love this disc. It's just seasoned and beat in perfectly, and I can't imagine not having it in the bag right now. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go with a 4 mid-range lineup, and it's gonna be the Hex that comes out of my bag. So we're gonna go Uplink, Dune, Buzzz, Buzzz OS. That's where we're at for now. That could change. I'm in a weird spot with my bag, and actually I just got an exciting package from Prodigy, a review coming on their brand new mid-range, the Archive, soon, and that could also throw a wrench in the mix because I've heard really great things about that disc and I'm excited to get out and throw it. That could potentially be challenging my Buzzz OS for that overstable slot. So we'll have to see. But for now, this is where I'm landing. The Dune is making the bag. We're gonna leave it in there. I'm gonna say at least for a month, so we get some really good rounds under our belt, play a lot of different courses, and then we might revisit this to see where we're at. 4 mid-ranges feels kind of like one more than I would like to have. 3 feels like the sweet spot, but the Dune is just so unique in its ability to go straight and sit flat and not really turn and not really fade. Gosh, I gotta see. I gotta have more of it. I gotta see what that's all about and how that's actually gonna play out at a variety of courses in and out of the woods. So that's where we're at. Appreciate you guys hanging out and checking out the channel. I would love to hear your thoughts on the Dune in particular, but also just any of the mid ranges I threw and how you go about building your bag. Are you a one disc on the same angle or different angles, or are you different discs on the same angle? What's your philosophy on mold minimalization? I have so many questions about building a bag right now. I'm sort of getting my mind in a pretzel, but Let me know in the comments below. You guys are great. Thanks for hanging out. My name's Andrew Wood, and remember, the journey is the destination. Catch you in the next one. Peace.